My name is Tahira. If you don't know who I am or you're just getting to know me. So I work at the intersection of nervous system regulation, structure, and business architecture for visionary leaders. Over the past several years, I built and led high level containers, year-long programs, retreats, and structured mentorships. So what I consistently observe is this: strategy rarely fails because of intelligence. It fails because of capacity. Leaders know what to do, however, they struggle to sustain it. My work is now focused on stabilization, regulation before expansion, and containment before growth. So most people attempt to install structure on top of dysregulated nervous systems. They download planners, they redesign offers, they rewrite messaging, they rework pricing. And for a short period of time, it works. Then something collapses. The collapse is not because you lack intelligence, it's because the body does not yet feel sustaining repetition. So that's usually the issue. So structure requires repetition. Repetition requires safety. Safety requires regulation. And if you skip regulation, structure will feel like pressure. A lot of times when you are a person who is visionary, have these beautiful ideas, we tend to be in the moment of the idea, and it feels grand and it feels fantastic. However, when we get into the structure and the spine of what we are trying to create, it creates a lot of pressure for a lot of sensitive beings that are really expansive naturally. And so just pause for a moment and reflect on that. Reflective moments when you were trying to build something, you had an offering that you wanted to bring out into the world, and it felt really expansive. It felt really good. But then as soon as you try to land it and try to build that spine that is needed for that offering to flourish, it created anxiety, possibly. It created pressure. So just take a moment and just reflect on that. And if you ever said, I know what to do, I just don't do it consistently, that is not confusion. That is activation. Because that's also another symptom of a dysregulated nervous system, is when we have a difficult time staying consistent. So in order to build repetition, you must stay consistent. It's like going to the gym and building a muscle, right? So the trainer, if you're working for a trainer, they start you off with 5 pounds. You go 3 days a week, you build that muscle, you build that repetition, and then you go back and now you're stronger. So now he or she puts on more weight. It's the same thing when it comes to learning to regulate your nervous system. The nervous system responds to repetition. So when the body is overwhelmed, patterns show up as inconsistency, overextension, hesitation, exhaustion. Let's define these precisely. Inconsistency. So you create momentum, and then all of a sudden you disappear. And I see this happen a lot. People post, maybe, especially on Instagram, a flyer or a reel of an event that they're doing, and then that's it. That's it. I'm like, okay, so what's the rest of the story? Like, I want to know, because consistency builds trust. So without that trust, then how are you going to expect people to sign up for your offering? Then now you have to restart again. That drains the nervous system. Then there may be shame behind it, which you don't need to have any shame, but there could be shame. And then that makes you disappear. And then you're just gone. Nobody knows where you're at. Maybe on a healing journey or something. So this is usually a freeze response once activation exceeds capacity. So overextension. You say yes to too much. You over deliver. You expand offers prematurely. This is often fight or fawn energy, trying to secure safety through performance. And then there's hesitation. You know the next move, but you delay it. And then you refine it endlessly. That perfectionism starts to kick in. And it's like, well, I got to refine it. I got to make it more perfect. There is no such thing. You'll just be spinning your wheels. Okay. And that's also protecting yourself. That is a protective mechanism unconsciously. So that is flight masked as perfectionism. And then you have exhaustion. You're tired before you even begin. Tasks feel heavier than their actual weight. That is chronic sympathetic activation. Because when you are constantly resetting and going with no baseline to land, your energy is going to be depleted. So now you're trying to run a business, you're trying to host, you're trying to provide services in that depleted energy. And that also takes a weight on your nervous system. So these are nervous system states, not character flaws. When you interpret them as personal failure, that's when you add shame. And that's not what this is about. Okay, this is looking at the intelligence of our body and learning how to tune into it. Because shame increases activation. Activation increases avoidance. And then the cycle just continues. Let's talk about why structure feels threatening. Structure means commitment, repetition, predictability, and boundaries. So for a dysregulated system, that can feel like exposure. Why? Because consistency removes escape routes. So you have to show up for yourself. You have to be responsible for you. You have to hold yourself accountable to grow your business, to be visible. And there's no escaping. If I commit to posting weekly, for example, I cannot disappear when I feel vulnerable. If I commit to launch date, I cannot move it when fear rises. If I commit to pricing, I cannot renegotiate my worth daily. So structure confronts instability. It confronts those psychological loops that sometimes we could get lost in. And it's holding yourself in that precision of alignment. That's what structure does. So that's why that confrontation can feel threatening for someone who's just used to just being in the flow of things. And what happens is the body resists, it constricts, and you have a hard time holding that. Not because you're weak, but because you have not trained in capacity. Capacity is built slowly, not through intensity, through repetition in a regulated state. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to invite you into a little embodiment practice, just so you could feel what I'm talking about. And you want your feet flat, if possible. If you could sit in a chair, that'd be better. So your equilibrium can be nicely supported. And now, let's take a slow inhale. And then a longer exhale. Think about one structural commitment you have been avoiding. Notice your body's response. Does your chest tighten? Does your stomach contract? Do you feel agitation? Do you feel numbness? That sensation is your current capacity edge. Do not override it. Do not shame it. Observe it. Regulation begins with awareness, not force. And then from here, you could just gently just wake up your body again. You can move a little bit. And you shouldn't have went anywhere. Shouldn't have traveled. This is not a traveling meditation. This is presence, learning to be present with your somatic field. Regulation is not calmness. Regulation is the ability to stay present under activation and still make clear decisions. A regulated leader can launch without panic, can price without apology, can see low engagement without spiraling, can execute without chasing adrenaline. They are not emotionally flat. they are stable. So once regulation is present, structure becomes neutral. It no longer feels oppressive. It feels supportive and precise. So this is why some people thrive with discipline and others collapse under it. It is not personality. Has nothing to do with your personality. Has nothing to do with, oh, I'm a multidimensional spiritual being. It has nothing to do with that. It is capacity. And you do not need more ideas. You need more regulated repetition. And you continue to build that infrastructure inside. And that's what creates long-lasting businesses. No matter if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, no matter what it is, doesn't matter what you call yourself, that structure is for everyone. And that structure is inside of you. And you allow it to land once your nervous system is regulated. I'm going to talk about sacred and paid and why it exists. So sacred and paid exists for this reason. It's not an activation space. It's not a hype container. It is structured rhythm for visionary leaders. So inside Sacred and Paid, you receive weekly structured teachings focused on execution. These are precise, curriculum-based sessions. We stay on theme, we build capacity, we refine structure. Monthly live orientation and recalibration sessions. These anchor rhythm and prevent drift. There's monthly guided meditations aligned to themes such as nervous system regulation, wealth embodiment, sovereign decision-making. So these are not escapist meditations. They are containment practices. They train your body to associate structure with safety. And you will also receive reflection prompts, which are designed to translate teaching into action, clarify your commitments, and reinforce repetition. So for those who choose to enter now, there is a founding member period through February 28th. The membership is only $9 a month or $50 a year up until March 1st. After March 1st, it moves to $22 per month or $444 per year. This is not pressure, it is simply structural timing. So what I'm going to do is just put the link in the chat. If it resonates, you can sign up, and there's a 7-day free trial going on right now. And if it doesn't resonate right now, it's okay. I'll add the link when I send the email within the next 48 hours. So thank you all for joining me this evening. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you all soon. Thank you all.